Hello, everyone. Welcome back to this week's episode of Wholeness with Hannah. Today, I have the joy of introducing a wonderful guest whose work beautifully intersects the world of purpose and communication. It's Laura Schofield, founder of Heed Communications, a values and purpose-led PR and brand experience agency that champions personalities and brands who are doing good for people and for the planet. With more than 2 decades of experience, Laura's led campaigns for global brands, public figures, and purpose-driven organisations. Having held senior roles both in-house and at leading agencies, she brings big brand thinking to a mission that's deeply rooted in values. She's known for her calm, considered approach and her ability to turn conscious ideas into powerful media moments. At Heed Communications, she's built an agency that backs its work not just with strategy and creativity, but with kindness, partnership, excellence, and impact at its core. And in our conversation today, we explore some of Laura's personal journey, how she helps purpose-led brands find their voice in a noisy world, how communications can serve as a force for good, and as it resonates so beautifully with our theme of wholeness on the podcast, how we can bring our authentic purpose and inner guidance into the outer world with clarity, integrity, and soul. So welcome to the podcast, Laura.
Thank you for having me and for that lovely introduction.
You're so welcome. Sometimes people are like, that was overwhelming.
I'm like, is that me? That sounds amazing.
There you go. I've reflected it back to you what you're doing. So just to get started for the listeners, do you want to tell us a little bit about you, your background, and maybe your personal story that led you to start Heed?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So, as you've mentioned in that introduction, I've been working in PR for 20 years. Mm-hmm. I turned 40 recently and, started my career. Well, actually before 20, to be honest, I was kind of interning from the age of 14 in various different PR agencies,
Wow.
photocopying. And I had seen someone, like a distant relation to me, do really well in PR, and I'd actually seen two people. It was kind of the boom of the 80s, found agencies and become really successful. So I was like, whatever that is, I don't even know what PR is, but whatever they're doing, I want to do it. I'd had quite like a challenging upbringing, and it hadn't been stable, and finances weren't on our side. So I'd seen something that seemed to give someone a lot of success and financial success. So I just went after that, and I was like, right, I'm doing PR. That's that. And I never really looked back. I just kind of went on that hamster wheel of wanting a bigger title, bigger salary, working with more exciting brands. And I had that more like financial, ego-driven drive for the majority of my career. And I got to do really amazing things because of that. I worked in big agencies for big brands, was Gordon Ramsay's head of PR for many years. Wow. And I started living what I considered to be a successful life, doing kind of successful things. That's what I considered success at the time. But last year I suffered a personal tragedy where I lost a baby very late into the pregnancy, 5 months into the pregnancy. Right. And moments of tragedy like that, I feel, just change everything. Like, I had a huge existential crisis. I started thinking, if I'm going to be bringing life into this world, which after I was going to be, and then I obviously didn't have the opportunity to, and I knew that from then on I was going to want to have a baby. Like, I wanted it so deeply within my being as soon as I found out I was pregnant. So I started to think, oh my goodness, if I'm bringing life into this world, like, what am I doing to make this world a better place? What if when my child looks back at me in the future and says, like, what have you done? Like, what could I say that I'd be proud of? And I realized that nothing that I had done would make my child proud. I didn't believe, in terms of adding to the world in a more positive way. So that, mixed with the actual kind of logistics of having a tragedy like that in a workplace, and being able to go back into the workplace after a loss, and then go on a fertility journey, I realised I wasn't in a place of work that would support me mentally, or what I needed. And I also felt this desire to create something where I was doing something better for the world, but equally I was creating a workplace where females or anyone on a fertility journey could still work, or any tragedy, there was space for them to go through whatever life throws at you, as well as having your own personal ambition and being able to achieve what you want professionally, but not forsaking one over the other. And I hadn't really I didn't know where to find that. Like most founders, if you can't find it, I'm like, gosh, I better
that's your sign.
Create it. Yeah. And I never had any drive to found my own business. It wasn't something I'd ever thought about. In fact, it quite frankly terrified me, but I knew that I needed it, and it didn't exist, so I had to make it.
That's amazing. Oh, well, thank you for sharing that, and I'm so sorry about your loss, but I'm also happy that this has come out of it now, because it does feel like it was your purpose. You know, we go through these really, really hard things, and I don't feel like it at the time, of course, but down the road you can sometimes look back and think, wow, if I hadn't have gone through that, I wouldn't have had this. And it sounds like you wouldn't have Heed.
Yeah, totally. And you know, we named our baby Akemi, and I'm so grateful for her. Like, I never got to hold her, but she has changed my life, and I hope through the work that we're doing, the lives of others. So I feel like there was so much purpose in her short existence. So I'm very grateful for her.
That's so beautiful. I'm grateful for her too. So obviously that's what led you to your purpose-driven work. So where you worked before then in the agencies, what was it like? You said there was no room to have your like kind of personal life heard at work. Yeah.
So for many years, I really like thrived on the busyness and the excitement of agency life and an in-house life working as a PR. But I would say there is a level of toxicity in the PR industry that's quite common. And I found it in almost every workplace, but in different forms. And the older I got and the more in tune with what makes me happy I realized actually this isn't serving me. And I wanted to create something different. But I think it can depend on like the time of your life and who you are as a person as to where you thrive. And those environments they weren't supporting me at all. And I don't think they ever did. I just don't think I really knew myself, and I was, as I said, just on this hamster wheel of getting something I think I thought I should have, but it wasn't serving me at all.
Oh my God, I can relate to that so hard. And I'm sure lots of people listening can relate to that. I was doing what I thought I should be doing or what I'd been exposed to be doing, and then I suddenly have a moment where I'm like, who am I and do I want to do this? So I'm sure lots of people can relate to that.
I was getting so much from like telling people my job role, you know, and I was like, but that's like a moment in time. What about all the other times where I'm just with myself?
Yes.
And I'm not feeling good, but then I have this one interaction where I say, I do this, I feel proud for a minute, and then it's gone. It's like, really, the math isn't mathing.
Yeah, that's not mathing. But that's so funny. I was actually having a conversation with someone the other day about how when someone's like, when you meet someone for the first time, what do you say? You say, oh, I'm blah, blah. What do you do? And we are defined by what we do. And I used to be the same. I used to be like, yeah, you know, I'm a banker, da-da-da. And now it feels different. I answer the question differently, but it feels different because what I do now is part of who I am and my purpose rather than a job title. Yeah. And it sounds like you feel the same.
Totally. And I'm so much more interested in who other people are now rather than what they do. Yeah. So it works kind of both ways. You kind of let it go in other people as well.
But isn't it funny if you say to someone, so who are you? I mean, you should try it, because someone did it to me the other day and I was like, well, luckily I can answer this. But even then I was like, oh, right, okay, we're going to do this. So now since that happened, it was actually on another podcast, I am going to start saying to people, so who are you? Ooh, and then people will be like, oh, well, you know, I'm a lawyer. No, who are you? So maybe we should start doing that.
Yeah, I think even I'd still find that a challenging question to answer. But let's try and start a little bit of a movement.
Okay, amazing. So you found Heed, and the whole idea is that you represent personalities and brands with purpose, who are doing good things for the world. So what does the purpose bit look like for you? What defines purpose in your world?
For me it is as simple as, are they trying to make the world a better place, and that they're not driven by just egos and profit, and the brands or the people can still be driven by those things. They might still want to make a huge success of themselves and make a certain amount of money, but that there is a bigger purpose-led mission in play. But that sees us work with so many different people. We work with like ethical fashion brands, functional mushroom brands. We work with a lot of wellness clients because ultimately you look after yourself, you know, you get in touch with your inner world, which I know we'll touch on, and then ultimately you put out better things into the planet. So yeah, that sees us work with a lot of wellness clients, but we also work with like an ethical erotica platform that's changing the way visually intimacy is seen on screen and removing some of those kind of toxic examples of intimacy, which some people then take to believe that's
that we've all grown up with.
We've all grown up with it, and we talk a lot about this kind of toxic manosphere, and so yeah, we feel it's really important, rather than just saying no, don't do that we as an agency, we're representing brands that replace some of those toxic thought patterns, and Frolic Me, the platform that we work with, is doing that really beautifully. So it sometimes it involves us having really challenging conversations, but we like that. What
kind of challenging?
So if we're taking Frolic Me, for example, you know, people hear the word porn and it makes them feel a certain way, and they're just like, no, bad.
Oh, you mean when you're reaching out to press and stuff?
Yeah, reaching out to press or hosting events, and we want to be introducing brands that are offering like alternatives to maybe some more toxic choices, but it might mean having a challenging conversation around that topic altogether. So I like to take brands or people that are ultimately trying to influence the world in a positive way. It's kind of as simple as that.
I love it. Purpose is my new thing. Because I am into positive psychology as well, and which is the science of what humans need to truly thrive, and one of them is purpose. There's an acronym, and the meaning, purpose is if we don't have that in our life, we're never going to be as happy, as fulfilled, and as aligned as we could be. So it's super important. And as we were talking about before the podcast, with this new technology world and with AI, it can't take over your purpose. It can't take over the human interaction. And is that something that you are seeing in your work as well? Yeah,
it's really interesting actually, because I spoke on a female panel yesterday at LSE to some incredible students that left me feeling really inspired, and the topic was communication in the age of AI. And my stance on it is that there is one thing that it can never replace is our humanity. And I think AI will get bigger and better, and it will take over lots of tasks, but it can't take over us having original thought, being kind, feeling. And so as a business, we're really leaning into that, both internally, our relationships with our clients as well, but then also the people that we represent and choose to represent are people that have a much more human approach to their businesses.
I love that panel sounds great, and it can't take away the humanness, can it? It's the humanness that I'm really excited about the career I've moved into, because I'm like, it's all about humans. It's all about creating a feeling and helping people understand themselves, and that they can put themselves first. And it's something that can't be taken over by technology, which in this day and age is really, 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 really powerful. Okay, so for anyone listening that is a bit like, what is PR? Can you just give us a really quick overview?
I think that's such a good question, because a lot of people don't understand what it actually means.
I work with you now, and we'll talk a bit about that, but I think of Samantha Jones.
Oh. It's either Samantha Jones or Ab Fab.
Because I'm like, and it seems really glamorous, and I know parts of it are, but if you just give us a little bit about what it actually looks like from the inside.
And I thought that too. I thought I was going to go into like the most glamorous place of work, but it's there's touches of it, but a lot of it isn't that glamorous. Like, if I was going to explain really like what PR is, like the term marketing is what a brand says about itself.
Right.
So how you talk about yourself on your newsletters, your social, you're telling people who you are with your own voice. PR is a brand telling people who they are through other people's voices.
Right.
So through a journalist's voice, an influencer's voice. That's the sector. What it's like to work in really it could be anything, depending on whether you're working in financial PR or lifestyle or medical. It really does change. But I'd say the skill set that you need is tenacity, because it's not a job where it's like A plus B equals C. There's not a formula to get what you want. It's constant changing, thinking that didn't work, let's try this, we got to know, how can we get a yes? And if you've got that tenacity and wanting to achieve no matter what, then it's going to be a good career to go into. If you don't like that and you like the formula, then probably not the world to go into.
Really people driven relationships really matter.
Yes, relationships really matter. They really do, and now more than ever, like we were saying, the more technology increases, and it does come into a lot of different elements of PR, but yeah, that relationship side of it is just becoming ever more important. And I tell people to go out and make actual friends, like no matter what level you're at, even if you're super junior in an agency, go and meet the most junior person in a magazine, because you're going to grow up with them and they're going to become the editor and you'll become the MD of an agency. But actually make an authentic friendship, talk about business like 10% of the time, and actually make friends 90% of the time. Okay. Someone gave me a really good tip when I was nervous around networking, because that seems quite intimidating to most people. Like, go out, make contacts, network. You're like, oh God, how do I even do that? And someone told me, just imagine every person as a book that you haven't read yet. And just go and ask them about themselves. Everybody, likes to have their book opened if someone's like genuinely curious. And as soon as someone gave me that twist on networking, I was like, that sounds amazing, rather than like going over and introducing yourself and having to like put on some kind of show. If you're actually curious about the person you're meeting, you'll end up making a genuine connection.
And they can feel that, can't they? It's
the
authenticity. I'm even sometimes enamored when someone uses my name. I'm like, oh, they remembered my name. But like, it's little things like that actually make the difference. So yeah. I'm also interested in, obviously you've worked in it for a long time, 20 years. Was it more brands to start with, and are you seeing an increase in the personalities and the personal brand space?
Yeah, that's a really good question, actually. When I started out, it was more brands. I was put on actually, my first ever job was PRing Finder's Crispy Pancakes. I don't know if you remember this.
Yes, okay.
Yeah, so I was like thrown into that, and then suddenly I got a new job and I was put on the luxury team. I had no experience of luxury, both professionally or personally.
Did you get free stuff?
Oh yeah, I got free stuff and I loved it. But I was like, how do I talk about champagnes and private clubs? I have no experience of this. I had to go to like a vintage store and try and buy an outfit to try and fit in. Right. But it was big brands then. But then more recently for me, I've found that I'm much more interested in the personality behind the brand, or if they are the brand, just because people buy into people. So that's why we say we represent personalities.
Yeah, I like that.
And brands.
And with the people thing, the world is more noisy than ever. So I think we are looking for that connection more. Human connection is the most important thing that humans need. Yeah. So I wonder if more people are stepping into creating their own personal brand because of that as well. We can all feel when someone's authentic, and I think that is, again, something that can't be taken away, but it's the connection piece. And because even around me, I feel like more people are leaving the corporate world. I know that's probably because they're in my circle, but leaving kind of that space, and more people are becoming founders, and it's seeming more appealing, not just for the reasons of if it succeeds, you can make loads of money, more just like, I can be who I want to be in this world, and people connect that and people can feel that.
Yeah, definitely. And I think with kind of, oh, I've lost my train of thought there. And it's like, okay, we're going to be able to edit that. You're talking about people behind the brands, aren't you? Yeah. And that, I feel like that is why PR works, like in general, because you're hearing about something via a person, and either they are a founder that's speaking about their personal brand, or like I said, a journalist or an influencer who's speaking on behalf of that brand. People buy into that so much more than an advert where you know you're being advertised to. If you're getting like an authentic recommendation, or you're hearing an authentic narrative story, like we're just human beings, aren't we? And we
it's relatable.
Yeah, it's relatable, and I think that's why as a sector, PR is a good brand support, rather than just speaking from a cold brand point of view.
I'm a believer in that. We all experienced, bad things that happen to us and challenging times. But I'm a big believer that they were sort of meant to happen to us, like not destined to happen in that way. But no one goes through life without experiencing, some pain. And the way I look at it now is I have taken the things that have happened to me, which at the time I had no idea there was a bigger purpose. But I now see that there was a bigger purpose. So, for example, I had a burnout, and now part of my job is to kind of educate people on that. I've researched, I've trained in it, and I feel like that was always meant to happen in a way, because if you don't have the personal experience of it, how can you really help other people, and like they'll be able to feel the authenticity of your experience. So my view of the world has changed so much more, and I guess part of the reason I wanted to work with you at Heed is because I was like, we all have something so different and unique, even if there's lots of people that are researchers and educate on burnout, but no one is me. And I think that also requires some sort of reflection and some inner work and some self-belief. So moving into that angle, because obviously you do work with a lot of people now rather than just the big brands and the personalities, so from your perspective, what does it take for someone to come and feel like they're ready, that they're able, and that they believe in themselves enough to work with PR?
And to be PR'd and kind of have their personality out there.
Because it's visibility. It's I'm ready to be seen, and I want to show the world what I've got in order to help other people.
Yeah, I'd say I understand almost the psychology of that a little bit, or a lot more, since from my own personal experience. For so many years I've just been PRing other people, and that has felt really good, but I've never really questioned about what makes them ready and why I would have dreaded that kind of that level of visibility. So
you would have, you feel like
I would have before. I'd never dreamt of owning a business. I'd never dreamt of doing anything visible, even anything like this would not have been something I would have desired or enjoyed. But having been through that tragedy, I then went on my own journey of, inner work, all of these things that people say, but I wouldn't have really known what that meant before. For me, at that point, I was just throwing the kitchen sink at anything that was going to make me feel better. So I was trying a meditation, breath work. I had a Reiki session with someone that you know.
Yeah, she's amazing.
Very well, yeah. And I started to see things change. Like, I was doing it out of desperation, but after a while I was like, oh my God, this stuff actually works. And I was healing, but beyond that, I was actually figuring out who I really was without all the noise or the expectation. The tragedy had stopped. I just didn't care what anyone thought of me after that. I was like, I am so broken, and I'm just going to figure out how to fix myself just to be able to get back out into the world. But I wasn't on this like journey of like, who am I, like deep inside. But ultimately I did find that. And then as soon as I found who I really was, I could then make really easy decisions. No, that job isn't right for me. No, that person in my life doesn't make me feel good, because everything was just so clear, like for the first time in my life. And then once I had made all those really simple decisions and put myself in a position where it felt authentic to me, I'm doing the work that feels right, I'm with the right partner, I've got the right friends, I've got the right family around me, I then found my own voice. I know that I've got something to say, and I feel comfortable saying that, and I feel like it might benefit others if I do. And that's when I felt in a position to be more visible. And I think those people that approach a PR person and are ready to be visible, in my world, it's because they've done some of that work already, and they know who they are, and they've got something to say, and they feel like it might benefit someone. And that makes me really excited when someone comes to me and they're like, I'm ready to be seen, I've got something to say, and it's powerful. I'm like, yes, let's find the platform.
Yeah, I love that. You put that so well, because it is a process, isn't it? And I love how you explained that the healing journey, you know, I use that word a lot, and something makes some people cringe, but really that is what it is. But it found you.
Yeah.
It, you know, this really big tragic event happened, and you, as you said, you had no choice.
Yeah. There was no, it was that, or just break down. And
it's sort of, you know, you were probably quite present, because you can't be anything else, because you're like, I'm feeling it's so painful.
Yeah.
Well, you can push it down, but you were ready not to.
Yeah.
And I think these are the things that teach us in life. Like, mine was more of a heartbreak. And as you said, at the time, I didn't wake up every day going, I'm on my healing journey, and I just was doing it. And then you start unearthing yourself and who you truly are, and healing all the things that you have suppressed or that you've been through in your life. And as you said, then you're like, I can hear myself. I know who I am. And Reiki really helps.
Reiki really helps.
It really helps. I think for me, Reiki helped most my throat chakra, because if we're not used to speaking our truth, or kind of, if we don't even know our truth, and then how are we supposed to speak it? But Reiki, you know, pulls back the layers, and you start to become more your authentic self. And the more authentic you feel, the more confident, the more courageous you are to put it out into the world. So I really think it's an inner journey, isn't it? Because if anyone is listening, because even since I've started working with you, I've had messages from people that are like, oh, so like, are you working with someone now? And I talk to them about it, and then they're like, oh no, I can't do that. And I'm like, oh, that's okay, but the reason I'm doing it is because I'm ready to do it. I want, you know, it felt like the next step for me. But that has not been overnight. You know, it's definitely a process. And it's the self-belief as well, isn't it? But also, when you have done the work on yourself, you become more clear on what you are here to do.
Yes, totally.
And it's, you know, as you said, you've gone through a really horrible experience, and now you have a client that's also helping fertility get into workplaces and things like that. So that, you know, on the back of that, you're already making change for people. And like for me in the burnout, I'm already making change for people. And it's not saying that everyone has to go and find that, but it is something to think about, isn't it? If you're like, oh, I've got, you know, my work isn't getting seen and not getting, are you ready to be seen? Because it's hard to put into words, but I didn't know I wasn't ready to be seen until I was ready to be seen. And it is definitely something that I have worked on with mentors and Reiki and all the things, because I think a lot of women especially have a visibility wound, and an envy wound. I had a massive envy wound from my childhood, of things that were said to me at school, and things that were said, you know, I went into banking and I had as we spoke about this, a great job on paper, and people would be like, oh yeah, of course you do, you know, it always works out for you. And these people have no idea what I've been through or how I got, you know, these things. But I had a lot of that projected on me. So I had built, it's not safe to be seen. People aren't going to like me. People are going to be envious of me. So I will keep myself, like, not really small, but small enough. I won't outshine everyone. I won't, I don't want to be too seen. I don't want everything to be too amazing, because then people won't like me. And especially as women, I feel that we are quite pitted against each other in society sometimes. You know, I go out of my way not to do that. And I know there's so many great women, but the general theme of the patriarchy is to pit us against each other, isn't it? So I really had to work on being seen and what that would mean for me and the people in my life. And it was only when I did the work and I got to a point where I was like, I mean this with the greatest respect, I don't care what people think. And if some of my friends can't be happy for me, then maybe they're not ready to be my friend. They can't stay with me in this next chapter.
And that's such an amazing place to be, isn't it? When you just stop caring so much about what everybody thinks of you. But it is, I found it anyway, like a really gradual process. I never had this like I didn't look to the top of the mountain and see like that's where I'm going to be. Like I just did little things, and then I slowly, like as you said, it like I did something and then I got a little bit clearer, and then I made a decision, and then I'm like, okay, this is working. I'm going to try something else, and slowly but surely. And I don't think anyone's ever like truly like there, but I was so indecisive before. I felt like I didn't know what was right for me, or should I do that, or should I stay in this job, or that after my healing journey, that is really going away. It's still there sometimes, but I can so easily decide now, like that's me, that's not me, that feels good or that doesn't feel good. And I think that's the beauty of when you start to drown out that kind of external noise and listen to who you are. But it can feel like quite a big mission if someone's like, heal yourself. You're like, no, I don't even want to start. It feels too huge. But it's just tiny steps.
All you have to do is start, and then the rest unfolds. And as you said, it's lifelong.
Yeah, then you can't go back.
No, you can't go back, and you can't. I could never be sat in a corporate job now. Not because I think everyone shouldn't be in corporate jobs, but because
it's not right for you.
Yeah, but the freedom element for me is really important. I actually now can't believe I sat at a desk for 10 hours a day, really. And like it just feels, obviously it was right for me then, and I truly believe I needed to go through that experience to be able to be in this world now. But it is and anyone listening, I'm sure people are thinking like, some people probably thinking, oh God, I know I need to do some work, because I do speak to a lot of people that are like, I'm scared to what it will unearth. And sometimes it's just not the right time to unearth it as well, like you and me were both sort of forced, but I do believe in timing of it as well, because it's not easy, is it?
Yeah.
I always caveat that. I'm like I am the happiest I've ever been, but it was a 3-year process of solitude, going through the ringer, feeling everything, and feeling feelings isn't easy.
Yeah, but it can be so beautiful as well. Like sometimes you think of it and you're like, oh God, I'm going to cry loads and it's going to be exhausting. But my first Reiki session, I was like, wow, that feels so good. Like I feel more confident, and I started getting these like, the first Reiki session I ever had, I think the message that I needed to land was that you are loved. I'm sure a lot of people have that. And our friend Neve said, "Oh, you will see little signs." And then I ordered a Deliveroo, which I do often. And so that night I ordered a Deliveroo, and it came with a little sauce pot, and on the top it said, "You are loved." Now I'm not that kind of person, but I was like, maybe I'm going to start paying attention to these things.
It opens you up.
Yeah. And
it opens you up.
It doesn't have to be like a really like dark, heavy journey, and unless you need or want it to be. It can be light.
Be dark, it's in what you're going through is dark, but then there's glimmers of light, and that's how you keep going. And that for me, signs, like what you just said there, I think of that as a sign. You saw this pop sauce and it says you are loved, and they are like such a big part of my life daily. They are the reason, they got me through. And I then began asking for them. And when you receive them, you're like, oh my God, I'm so supported. I'm so loved. And people think I'm mad, but signs is the reason I quit my job. Signs is the reason I go on these random trips that I know I need to go somewhere, because I listen to them and I follow them. But we've gone off topic now. But back to the self-belief. But so basically you've gone on the inner journey and you're a founder now, and you're more comfortable with being seen.
Yeah.
But you probably wouldn't have started Heed if you hadn't got there, right?
No, never. I wouldn't have, and I had absolutely no desire to. But it was clearly something that needed to happen, but in my way. Like I'd seen founders, and I'd seen other people's journeys, and that wasn't for me either. I had to create a business and do it in the way that feels right for me. I also didn't want to be like completely burnt out. Like I want to have a family. I want to create a company where people can have challenges in life, actively try for families, have them, be human. And all these other founder journeys that I'd seen, that it was like kind of really like you have to live and breathe it, and it has to be everything, and everything else has to suffer. I was like, oh, I don't know if I want that.
That is also what put me off. Like as you mentioned earlier, that you had no desire to actually be a founder, and I don't even really class myself as a founder, but maybe I
Yeah, I
should.
think you are.
Yeah, entrepreneur. I just think, but I'm the same as you. I was like, I'm so fine working in an organisation.
Yeah.
They take care of everything. You know, I just get paid and I have all the benefits. I honestly had no desire until I started the inner journey and then I always say I became an accidental entrepreneur because it just sort of following these nudges and then being like, oh, well, I'm going to just set up a company now because, you know, I'll go on Company's House and I'll do it and, you know, see what happens. So as you said, it's been such a process, not for everyone. Sometimes people are like, you know, I know people that were born to be founders and they're like, you know, from the get-go, they knew they never wanted to work in a corporate. But I guess what I'm trying to say is everyone is different and it's okay to like do what you want to do. But the visibility thing really interests me because, and I feel like it will interest a lot of people listening because people have dreams, they have goals. And I think a lot of the time, what stops them is that piece of being seen for who they are. And do you notice it in the clients that you work for?
Yeah, it's a confidence, isn't it? It's like you are ready to say something, you're ready for it to be heard. And either someone will come to me ready or they might just need a little push, that they've come wanting the brand to be seen, but they're not so sure that they want to be seen. And it might be a year or 2 year long strategy to get them to the point where they're coming a bit more to the forefront.
As the founder of the brand.
Yeah, as the founder of the brand.
Do you know who's unreal at that? It's Grace Beverley.
Yeah.
Like I went to a talk with her quite recently, but she made a really good point and she was saying how like I'm, you know, the face of all the brands that I have created. But she did say it's not just me though. It's everything we've built behind the scenes, because she was saying with Tala, if it was just her and the only reason people were buying it was because it was her, she was like, they wouldn't repeat buy.
Yeah.
You're not just going to, like, you don't always need new activewear. So she was like, yes, maybe I'm a big part of it and I've been a big help to the brands, but at some point you do have to build behind the scenes a company and you know, or everyone you hire and the ethos of your brand. Otherwise it won't be sustainable. Yeah,
and it has to be, your values have to be lived and breathed by everyone within that company. She does it really well, Grace, and a publication. Well. It's really inspiring.
Born to be.
Yeah, totally. Sheer Luxe do. I really love the way the Sheer Luxe team operates, because they're a publication, but you see so much behind the scenes of their office. All of the people that work there become like influencers in their own right, and kind of you'll be drawn to one person more than another. And I think that level of visibility, that it's not just the founder, that there's multiple people in a business talking, and they're all really reflecting the values, reflecting what the company's about. I think that's the best way to be, if that's possible. I'd really like for Heed to get there. Actually, we talk about that a lot, on kind of really letting people behind the scenes and seeing all of the team. Yeah, because ultimately I want Heed to exist beyond me and without me, that it doesn't need me. And founders do one part of the job, but really the engine is the people that work for you. So in a dream world, there'd be multiple people that could be your
it's important,
spokespeople. Yeah, definitely.
But from your experience, does a brand tend to do better if the founder is up front?
Depends on the founder.
Does it? Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah, I think if they've got a really authentic message, reason for doing it, that really comes across, then yes, that it can only benefit, supported by other members of the team, I do think. But yeah, if then a founder's put forward and you can just tell that it's not really coming from a good place.
Or what about if they've created something really amazing, but they themselves are more introverted or more not wanting to be as visible for whatever reason?
Yeah, then that's okay too. And I wouldn't force someone in a position, because we're going to tell. You're going to be able to tell it doesn't feel good for them, and that's not going to feel comfortable for somebody to see and enjoy. So it might be somebody else in the business that has got that in them, and they want to be at the forefront. So it doesn't have to be the founder, but a person speaking for a brand is important, or people. But just the person that can tell the story authentically and that is enjoying it.
Yeah, because you see it on Dragon's Den, don't you? Sometimes they're like, I'm investing because I'm investing in you as a person.
Yeah, people buy people.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
you've got to feel it. And if that's not in their wheelhouse, that's okay. But yeah, I wouldn't force it.
Okay, and if someone's listening is a bit like, okay, I think I've done the work, I want to be seen. What things would you advise them to have in place before actually approaching a PR agent?
Well, they wouldn't really need to have anything in place. That might be that that a PR person would put everything in place for them.
Right.
So when I start working with someone, I'll start to really craft their narrative, write their biography, just all the basics, like how did you get to where you are? What's your story? What's that like one thing that's going to resonate over everybody else that's talking?
Like from Wall Street to Wellness.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like that. You had that thing. It's like that one thing that you could say in a sentence that you don't need a whole explanation to get. It's like, Hannah does this and I get it and I want to know more. And then people can kind of dive in. But you might need a professional to help you get there. You'd got there by yourself, so that was easy work for us.
You helped me a lot though. But it was good. It's good to talk it out with someone in the industry that is a professional. And we spoke about because I'm quite multifaceted, and as we've spoke about many times, I do want to do different things. I don't want to just do one thing. But you were really great at being like, well, we'll start with this, but actually all sort of can fit into like the energy, the burnout. It all does come together. Yeah. But it's kind of like the first pitch of who you are and what you do, isn't it?
Yeah, you need to make things really simple for just everybody out there who's busy, being bombarded with things day in, day out. They need to just be like, oh, that is intriguing. I want to dive in. So yeah, I'd say if someone's ready to be seen, ready to want to have like a PR engine behind them, you could be at any stage, but just speaking to a professional, and they can tell you whether you need a bit of upfront strategy work before you kind of go out there, or if they're like, you're pretty good to go, let's start, organising interviews or whatever the strategy is. But just starting to speak to someone, put it out there and make it a reality, I guess.
Yeah, I love that. And one thing I would add, and what I have loved, is it's not just go get featured in some magazines. Like if someone's listening that's like, but I don't know, want to get a partnership with someone or do something completely different, you can also help that, right? It's not just placing people in media. Like I had specific things I wanted, and you were like, yeah, we can do that. Yeah,
it's just about visibility through other people's voices. So whether you're like partnering with a brand and you're connecting with their audience, via them because they're already engaged, you're speaking at an event, you're speaking on a podcast or in an interview
as well, don't you? Like put together events.
And I think it's important to have that like multifaceted strategy, so people are seeing you, hearing you, reading about you. Oh, then they've seen you do something with a brand that they like. You need to see people multiple times before, like, as people, we change our behavior. So a one kind of trick pony approach is just not going to work. You need to be doing different things and kind of catching people's attention multiple times.
That's so true. Isn't it? Someone has to see you 7 times before they'll even think about buying from you or something.
Yeah.
The one last element I wanted to focus on was this whole thing around your personal brand and building your personal brand. Is a lot of people see that as arrogant and things like that. Do you ever is that around in the industry at all? Like, who do they think they are? Because I've been reading Kubi Springer's book. I Am My Brand. Is that her name? Yeah, I think.
Yes.
I Am My Brand, and it's about how to build your brand unapologetically. And again, it comes back to the self-belief, the inner work. Are you ready to be seen? Because not everyone is going to like you. Yeah. And I'm sure, have you been approached by people that you have thought you're not ready to be unapologetic about your brand or things? Or have you had people approach you and you're like, I'm not going to work with you?
Well, for me, the deciding factor would be why they want to do it. And if they want to do something for a bigger purpose, they want to make the world a better place, then generally it's unlikely that I wouldn't want to work with them because I'd believe them to be a good person. And but in terms of this personal brand and ego, I think it is a hard thing to overcome. I went to a talk when I was starting to even think about Heed, someone called Amelia Sordell, who's written like the personal branding playbook. Right. And she was like, you just have to get over the cringe factor, because so many of us, especially women, have been told to kind of be quieter, maybe.
Back to that.
And to go out there and speak out. Some people are probably going to cringe at you.
Yep.
And that's okay, but as long as you're comfortable with that. And I feel like that the comfortability comes from really believing in what you're saying. If you're just doing it for the sake of it, because someone said we need to build everyone needs to build their personal brand, then what's it all for? Like, just, you could avoid the cringe altogether and just, you know, go and do something that does feel meaningful, and it doesn't have to be about a personal brand. But if a personal brand is feeding into a bigger purpose and it feels important, then you can forget about what people think of you, because you're doing something for a reason.
Definitely.
And I feel like that's something I had to get over. Like, even like your first LinkedIn post can be like, oh my God, like, is anyone going to like this? Does this sound stupid? Should I even be saying this? Who am I to be saying this?
Definitely.
But if you zoom out and you think, no, I want to achieve something, it feels right, it feels like I should be doing this. And I've built some level of self-confidence where I feel like I've got something to say, then you've just got to push yourself over.
So true. The LinkedIn thing is so real, isn't it? For me, it was the identity change. Like, I'd gone from banking,
it's so big,
being seen by, and obviously LinkedIn is a work platform. I had loads of people on there from banking. They was most of the people on there, and I then I slowly started posting about what I do now and who I am now. And then when I put Reiki on there, I was like, it's out there, because that was something that people would potentially look at and be like, Hannah's lost the plot. But I had to get to the point where I was like, they're allowed to, I don't care if they think I've lost the plot. I think they've lost the plot still being there. because
you knew it was you. It's like, you can't go back from that now. Like, I'm comfortable with this.
That's where I had to get to, definitely. And it definitely was a process. But also when I quit, I didn't know where I was going. I gave the time to figure it out. But it goes back to what you said about believing in the work you're doing, because now I genuinely believe wholeheartedly that getting this kind of rhetoric into workplaces about managing your energy and more than managing your time is gonna change everything. Like, I want to disrupt the industry in that way. So now I'm posting it and I don't care. So many people have been like, oh my God, I've never thought about it this way, and oh my God, and you know, I did talks at Meta, and the response has been super positive. But there's obviously people seeing that like, whatever, but they're not the people then. They're not ready for the change. And I think anyone listening that's like, oh my God, like, I can't do it, it's too cringe is the price you pay for success. I don't know where I got that from, but someone else said that.
I love it.
I've seen it on Instagram a few times, but I think it's true.
That's so true.
Even when I started this podcast 2 years ago, I was not as, you know, into my work, into my inner work and my self-belief as I am now, but I just did it.
Yeah.
And I just was like, right. My imposter syndrome was through the roof, but I was like, but, you know, loads of people have podcasts, I can do it too.
Yeah. And then you'll get a positive reaction, someone will like it, and then you're like, actually, this
I was
feels
very
okay.
clear that if this helps one person, I'm good. And I think if that was honestly what I wrote down. So the fact that it goes on to help loads of people is a bonus if you're doing it for the right reasons. And I also just had a feeling it needed to be out in the world, and it's changed my life. So anyone listening, the self-belief thing, you don't have to have like the highest self-belief to start with, but you do have to do things to kind of help it grow and put yourself out of your comfort zone.
Yeah. What's your saying that someone else is saying? Cringe is the price for success. Yeah. Cringe
is the price you pay
for success. I love that.
And it is true.
Yeah.
And also, I've also read that people that find you cringe, and I always check myself in this. If I find I'm cringing, I'm like, that's about me, not them. That is because, so say you're watching something on Instagram and someone is really talking to the camera and they're going like really into it, and then really putting themselves out there. If you're cringing at that, it's okay. It's only because you would never do that. You don't feel, and it's not saying that you will want to do that at some point. It's more they're igniting something in you that's uncomfortable because you wouldn't put yourself in that position. Do you know what I mean? And it's
a good idea to like you said, have a little think as well. Like, why is this making me cringe? Is it secretly deep down a little bit of envy that I can't believe that they feel so comfortable to be doing this?
Exactly.
And I think I've noticed that about myself sometimes, that you'll have an instinctive reaction, but it's because you're like, how are they doing that?
Yeah.
That's like so brave, really. That's what you're thinking.
Exactly. And it is, again, visibility a lot of the time. And I always try and say, turn envy into inspiration.
Yeah.
That has been life-changing for me.
Because it's just a signal of something that you want, really.
Exactly. And now I'm like, with the whole envy wound that I spoke about, I'm like, if anyone's looking at me like, whoa, you changed your life, you're like, I get a lot of messages like, oh my God, everything's going so well. And I'm like, yeah, it actually is. This isn't fake. Like, it's actually going really well. But they're forgetting sometimes all the work that went into it. Yeah. So now I'm like, if they're envious, I'm just showing them what's possible.
And you're now providing a platform where people can get a bit of insight into how to do it.
Yeah,
if you're envious and you see something's going well for someone, you're helping with tools to maybe get there, either through your Reiki or your talks or just by listening to a podcast. Yeah.
Exactly. That's why I try and have... The reason I started the podcast was because I was like, I want to talk about all the things that have helped me, because they really did help me, and it's just evolved. And, now we're here talking about purpose and PR as well. So that I love that it's Wholeness with Hannah, because it can be anything that's going to help people. That was the whole point. Yeah,
I guess it helps everyone with their own success story, wherever that takes them. And it might be somewhere really different to what you originally thought success to be.
And this conversation that we're having, I really hope there's someone listening that's like, I've never thought about potentially having PR for me, because I hadn't until I changed careers, until I did the masters, until I thought about, I need to get this message out into the world. It's been so life-changing for me. So if someone is listening, maybe we're putting the idea in their head now.
Definitely. And I think there's a lot of people in my past that I'd worked for that really believed PR was right for them, that was more ego-driven. And if there's anyone that listens to this that's doing something really meaningful that maybe held back before, that's suddenly like, no, I want to have my story shared. That's the type of person that I want to work with, that has something really powerful to say. And it isn't, maybe some people I've worked with in my past that just wants to say something and be heard.
Exactly. That's coming from such a different place. And there's not many, like, who are your competitors, would you say, in this kind of purpose-led area?
There are some.
Are there?
There are some. There are I love some of the agencies out there, and I'm really inspired by them. So someone asked me like, oh, don't share your industry secrets too much, because everyone will catch on. But I'm like, I want that. Like, I feel like I want everyone eventually to be purpose-led PR. If they're working in the PR space, because there's so many brands out there doing amazing things. I want everyone to be focusing on those rather than some of the ones that are negative for this planet, essentially.
And also, we're not all meant to work with the same people, are we? It's like Reiki. I'm like, not everyone is going to come to me for Reiki. There's so many Reiki practitioners, and you need to find who's the right fit for you as well. And it's the same sort of thing, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. So I look to other agencies as inspiration and hopefully collaboration, rather than competition. The ones that I think are doing amazing things anyway.
I love that. Amazing. Okay, so just to round up then, is there anything you would like people to know about PR or about what you do?
I just think that, I'd love people, like you said, who are doing something special to get in touch, so that I can continue my mission of just wanting brands and people that are doing good things for the planet to shine above others. And I just get really inspired by hearing those stories. And if anyone's interested in the world of PR, I love mentoring.
I love that.
I love helping anyone out in their career. If anyone's starting out and doesn't know where to go, even if they don't want anything to do with the heat or what we're doing, and they just want some advice, then then I love that too.
Love that. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing your story and for all the amazing work you do. I love working with you.
I love working with you.
Well, thank
you for having me.
And where can they find you? Instagram,
Hue Communications, LinkedIn, our website. Amazing.
All right. Well, thank you so much,
Laura.
Thank you,
Hannah.
Bye.
Bye.